Hey, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the 24-hour cycle of a starter and the consistency of your starter during that 24-hour period. I'm covering this topic because I get a lot of questions about the consistency of your starter. A lot of people are concerned that theirs is too runny, but the truth is your starter will change consistency throughout its 24-hour cycle. And so it might be helpful for you to know the changes that your starter will make in that cycle. Your starter is going to go through 3 phases. The first phase is right after you feed it. The second phase is a few hours after that feeding. And then the third phase is 24 hours after feeding once it's ready to be fed again. Let's take a look at these 3 phases closer. So the first phase is right after you feed it. Your starter is going to be nice and thick. So here's what your starter looks like when it's freshly fed. It is thicker, it's not runny, it's not very stretchy, it just seems like you mixed up water and flour. In a few hours, sometimes 4 to 5, sometimes more than that depending on your environment, your starter is going to rise, it's going to get bubbly and airy, it's going to get kind of stretchy, and this is considered an active starter. This is the point that you're going to want to use your starter if you're using it to bake a recipe with. Let's take a look what an active bubbly starter looks like. So this is an active bubbly starter. You notice that it's going to have a stretchier consistency. It has lots of air bubbles. It's fluffy, and as you mix it, the air bubbles go down. Here's a side view to show the consistency. It's not super runny, but it is more stretchy and a little bit thinner than when we first mixed it up. And then the third phase is about 24 hours after you initially fed it, and this is right before it's ready to be fed again. This is the time that you would discard if you're needing to discard, or you're gonna take some out so you can make a discard recipe. Now let's take a look at what this runny discard consistency looks like. So you'll notice that this starter, it hasn't been fed for 24 hours. It's a really runny discard consistency. Let's take a look at a side view. You can see that it literally just pours out here. So this is how it's going to be before you need to feed it again. Don't be alarmed when your starter looks like this. It's okay. You're going to feed it and it's going to start that cycle again. This is what it's supposed to look like when it's needing to be fed. So as an overview, in a 24-hour cycle, you're going to feed your starter. It's going to be nice and thick. After it rises to its fullest potential, it's going to peak before it starts falling. Once it falls, the consistency will get really thin and like runny. And so after it goes through this 24-hour cycle, you're going to feed it again, and it's going to start that same process over and over. If you're past that first week of establishing your starter and your starter is established, then you can move on to storing your starter in the fridge. If you need more information on this topic, be sure to check out my maintenance and storage video, and I will be sure to link it in the description below. Check that out and you can learn how to kind of slow down this 24-hour process so you're not having to feed your starter every single day. So I hope this video was helpful and it gives you a little bit of knowledge to know what your starter should look like throughout this 24-hour cycle and feeding process. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to hit subscribe. I'm going to be continuing to add videos to this channel, and as questions come in, I'll be making videos on those questions. So in the comments, if you have any other questions, be sure to leave your question for me and I would be happy to answer it for you. As always, I'll see you in the next video.